Okay, hey guys. We're going to pick up where we left off, and start working on the next part of this list and detail application. So the next thing we needed to do was, I think the last thing we did was have a look through the API for posts. We used Postman, which I don't have open now, just to look at the available APIs. Where is it? It's here. And this is it really. We're just going to hit this API, get all posts. We don't need any specific headers or um, query items. It's just this appended path onto a base URL, really. That's all we're going to do. I'm going to display the JSON output or response in our list. Where is my simulator? Let's run it again. Boom and run. Quick look at the list view, not on that panel, please. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, right, yeah, and we implemented the preview as part of this. So we did this the last time also. We just implemented this mock API client with some mock data so we could use preview if we want to improve our UI. Okay, which we're not going to do right now, but we have it done and it's useful. Our UI is quite simple, but it's okay. It's fine. Why are we not scrolling there? I can scroll down, but not up. There we go. Okay. All right, let's get rid of this panel here and let's dive in. Okay, so what have I got open? My mouse is causing some problems. I think it's okay. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're on the list view. We've got our view model, which is a state object. I'm going to bring up the view model here. Okay. View model has the API client. The API client is injected with a protocol so we can mock it. It's got a default concrete class, so we don't need to worry about it right now. We can just create the view model like this. The view model combines observable object, and that is so we can have this publisher for the items using API model. We'll update this model for our API request or response. That's it. And then we fetch titles and that populates these items. And the plan is once these items are populated, maybe we'll show a progress indicator while the request is being made. And then when the items update, the view will know that this is no longer empty or that this is no longer loading. And then it will display whatever is in this populated item, or maybe an empty state if there's nothing in the item when it's populated. Okay, and this uses the Fetch Content API client. So a quick look in here to remind ourselves. Yeah, it's not doing anything really. It's just returning. This is our API client, and it's just returning mock data, an array of these API models with title, subtitle, which is the movie genre and the movie or TV series. Okay, so let's do this. How are we for organization? And let's try and keep everything organized if we can as we go. Okay. So let me see. So let's go directly. Let's start in the API client and see how we get on. So our concrete API client class is here. We're saying fetch content. Okay. Where is our response? Bring back down Postman and have a look at this API and this response. Okay, so we're going to need to update our model first firstly to handle this response, and update our API client to make a real request. So we're going to use URL session and uh, the singleton, the default singleton on URL session. That's sufficient for what we need. So let's implement that first. So let's say a private var URL session like that. Let's do that. Okay, let's inject this so that we can mock things out. Just best practice. We will not be mocking things out today, but in a real app, there may be a need to do that. URL session is that. Can I find URL session in scope? It is in foundation. Sure. Okay. Here we go. So now we've got URL session. So this is let's get rid of these guys. Fetch content. Okay. So let's also send in a base URL. Okay, so define a base URL here. Again, keeping everything quite simple. Base URL, and that is a URL. Okay, no, we're not going to do that. What we'll do is we'll pass the base URL into the initializer, same pattern as we did for the URL session. I'm just going to pass the string, not the actual URL. So let's not do that or that. And sorry, not that either. Where are we here? Bang. And let's get rid of this. So base URL is a string. It doesn't need to have that defined, or does it? Actually, maybe it does. Okay. Right, what is our base URL here? Let's have a look. It's this JSON placeholder type code. We ran through this API, explored the API in the last video. Okay, so let's paste this base URL in here. Okay, it's a string, it's that. All good. Do I need that at the end? I don't think I do. Close up that. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're gonna create our base URL. So guard as base URL equals URL with the string that's passed in. Otherwise, we get a fatal error. Fine. So we're going to fail fast, and I think for now that's fine. We would never expect this to fail in production, ever. So this should be well tested before we'd ever release. This is missing a opening brace here. So that's that. The URL session is being set there. And you're going to set your base URL. So self.base URL equals base URL. Just fix the indentation here, making it easier to read. Okay, so that's it. So we're initializing our API client with a base URL with an instance of URL session, and we're injecting both of these items so that we can mock them if we want to create a mock client for whatever reason, for unit testing is the most likely requirement or need for that. Okay, so we're initialized. So in fetch content, let's start using this stuff. So let's should we maybe not content, let's say fetch all posts. So that's what we're going to do really. And let's change the protocol to match so we're not getting any complaints. This method is going to be asynchronous, async, and it's also going to throw. So there are various errors that would need to be handled when we're making an API request. So our containing function must be capable of throwing those errors, but also of carrying out this task asynchronously. So we don't block the app while we're waiting for a response, and so that we can allow the app to behave in different ways depending on whether it has the response or whether it's making the request or whatever. So progress indicators is what I'm thinking, and maybe, yeah, progress indicators is what I'm thinking. Oh yes, and that means we need to update the AP or the protocol API. Okay, so let's construct the all posts. So let all posts URL is the base URL ending path component posts. Yes, it is. Oh, that's nice, but we're not just going to jump to that yet. Go away. It is post, isn't it? Or is it? It is posts. Yes, posts. Okay, we've got that. Now we're going to make a request to, so let data equals try. Oh, wait. We use the URL session instance, URL session data from all posts. I don't think that's correct. Is it? It might be 4, I thought. Oh, what's the base URL? It's a URL. What's this thing do? It is deprecated. Use appending path directory hint instead. Path component add the file URLs. This method may perform file system IO to determine if the path component is a directory. Blah blah blah. New code should use instead of this method appending path directory. Oops, in here. Appending path returns a URL by appending the specified path to the URL with a hint for handling directory awareness. Directory hint. A hint to the method to indicate whether the path is a directory or to instruct the method to make this determination. Right. What is this for? Really? That was giving me some. Let's get rid of this and look for autocomplete to give us a hand. So for is URL request. Oh, we need to create. Okay, sorry. Okay, got you. It's going to be 4, but let's bide our time. So let request request equals URL request with a URL. Ooh, URL cache policy. Timeout interval creates and initializes a URL request with the given URL cache policy and timeout. Let's just go with the URL for now, but the options are there when it gets a little more in depth. Let request equals that. Okay, so let data equals timeout or pass in the request. Now, maybe we could just wrap this all up because I think it's fine. I'm not sure if it's optional either. I don't think so. No. So let's put this here. That all posts, you know what, let's keep it explicit. Request is that, and then we pass in the request. Okay, I know that this is not just going to return data, it also returns the HTTP response. So let us use that response. response disposition. Nice. Okay, so let data response, this tuple, equals that. So we're going to do a quick. So what we want to do here is, yeah, well, we're going to do that. I do want to break this method up and maybe create a generic request to the API so that we can reuse this. But what I'll do is let's put it all in the fetch all posts for now, then extract out. So, okay, let's do the guard on HTTP response as that. No, I'm not going to just jump to that. I'm going to keep this quite simple. Get a response status code out of that. Status code. So guard let status code equals that. If we don't get a status code, well then let's throw and I want can I get a simple error without creating a custom NS error with a domain and code domain? I'm just going to say bad request, bad request. No. No API response. Something like that. Code, let's just say 0. So we're going to just throw this simple error. I think that is fine. That should have an else here. Okay, so we expect to get back the status code. We can check that it's a 200, or maybe we should do that, Okay, let's check. Get back this and that status code was 200. Let me do that. Okay, very, very basic, but that's fine. Or maybe contained. So we'll say, okay, sorry, let's do this. Let's do a range 200 to 299 dot contains. How did I do that again? Oh, excuse my range. Contains the status code. There you go. So it's in the 200s. Otherwise, we're throwing an error. I think that's fine. We can handle all other status codes separately and in this block. Okay, missing return instance. So let's say let models equals the JSON decoder is what we're going to use. So we're going to say try JSON decoder decode API model cell from data. Okay. Got you. Let's we could make this optional, but probably we want to catch these errors. Requires an API model conforms to decodable. Okay, so let's have a look at this API model. We'll do it from here. API model is here. Okay, so this is not, and we've made it identifiable for our list, but now we want this to be codable, which includes decodable, and also includes identifiable, as far as I'm aware. So that should satisfy the list object in the list view. Okay, so what do we need here? So we need these guys, right? Let's just copy them all out. User ID, title, and body. Can I use my, I don't think so. No. Can I use selective? Oh, I can. Look at that. Oh, I can. Excellent. Boom. That's great. Let's do that. So bring it down here. So we got user ID, which is going to be an int. Oops, not that. Let's just do this. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. Now, so we are going to an int for the user ID. This is not an int. This is a string. And this will be a string. That's okay. That's okay. Let's get rid of that. Let's no longer call it API model. Let's call it a API all posts. Just all posts response model. Okay, all post response. Okay, so that's gonna represent each item in the response. Okay, user ID, title, and body. How are we doing on time, guys? 21. This is probably going to be a longer video than before. Maybe we'll break it up. Okay. User ID, fine. The ID is a post ID, really, right? Let's be explicit. We can't use post ID here because that would fail. To decode, we must keep it the same. So what we can do is, if we want to change this to post ID, which is more explicit for using these models elsewhere, we need to implement coding keys. So is it enum coding keys? Thank you. But this is conforms to string. This is not all the same. Can I do this? Let's see. Case. Can I do this? Yes, I may be. And then you're just going to go equals ID. It's just ID, is it? Okay, yes, ID. That's it. I think. I think that will allow us to use post ID here to reference the model variable while at the same time decoding correctly using the coding keys defined here. Okay. So back now to our API client. So this is now going to use oops, the all posts response, and it's going to decode from the data. It must return an array of these, and then we can just simply say return models or empty. I get you. Okay. That's it then. The API must be updated here for the post response. Okay, let's make the request and then let's look at cleaning this up and making this a bit more generic. So what I'm going to do is go back to the list view, which is here. Oh yes, okay, so the view model items. Oh, that might need to change also. So the items are no longer API model, they are all posts response. They are empty to start. We're going to fetch content. No, we're not. We're going to fetch all posts. All posts. And we're going to change this here to fetch all posts. That's going to populate the items. Let's leave it at items. API client fetch. What was the API on that? Is it all posts as well? I can't remember. Let's go to the API client and it is fetch all posts like that. It's asynchronous. So fetch all posts like that. Okay, so it's asynchronous. Also, it can throw. Great. So let's do a couple of things here. Let's mark this API as asynchronous, and this method as asynchronous. No, we'll throw from in here and handle errors from in here. So call it async. Expression is async, but is not marked with await. Yes, I know that. So we'll do it. Do try catch here. Boom, boom. Try catch. Okay. Let me see. That's not right, lads. It's just there. Catches on this guy. All right. Do catch with the try in here. Oh, I know. Do try catch. What am I doing here? God. Let's have a quick look. No, not that. Okay. So let's just do catch for now. Catch. We can catch the error there, but let's not worry about that right now. So do catch. Okay. So fetch all posts is, I think, do we want to set the items equals, we want to await the API client fetch all posts like that. Call control, oh, right, okay. Try, we will not make that optional. Try, must be proceed to wait. That. Try await API client, fetch all posts. Okay, let's say we catch the error. I'm just going to throw a fatal error here for now. We will look at fetch all posts failed. Let's implement error handling. Okay, guys, just excuse me for a minute. I'm on a call here at the moment. Can I talk to you later? Okay, well, we can still find you something small for us. Okay, talk to you later. Bye, bye, bye. Okay. No, sorry about that. Need to take that call. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so we're on the list view. We want to make our request and we want to populate this card view. At the moment, this is cannot convert value of type API post response. Okay, let's have a look. The view model items is this. It's an item there, and it's identifiable on this ID, which we don't have now in the new model. Okay, let's look at that. Let's look at our model in here on the right-hand side. API model. We can leave this class as API model because if we have more API models, we can put them in here. So this is the all posts, is the only API we have at the moment. Yeah. Okay, so card view. Let's update this. So we've got a title, a subtitle. Let's call it the body, and let's add in both the user ID var user ID is an int and var post ID is an int. Okay, let's display these in a pretty rudimentary way. So what are we doing at the moment? VStack, we've just got the title. Oh yes, we have it here. Where's my simulator? This is what we're doing at the moment. I don't think we need to be, we need to focus too much on the UI at this stage. So let's just reuse this text item here for title. Keep that as headline. That's fine. And then the body is, can we just go body on that? Oh, what is it? Font is. God damn. Okay, we'll go what we had. Subheadline, fine. What we want here, redeclaration of body. Not sure about that. What we want, we've got a VStack, these. I think we will put some additional text objects in here. So it's text. Let me do this. Okay, so user ID is that, and we will land this guy in. I'm going to extract that now as well because so the user ID, there you go. Now I'm going to put the post ID in a separate text object. You know, possibly we could possibly not sure why this is complete invalid redeclaration of body. Really? Am I missing a? Oh, I see. Look at this. Okay. Ooh, okay. Card view is um uh let's call it the post body. That right. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. I'm gonna keep it lowercase. There. All right, let's do that. So this list needs to be identifiable. A list can't lay out its views if it cannot distinguish between views. So it's important that this view be identifiable, and we can make it identifiable on these unique IDs. Now, user ID is not unique. Post ID is, right? Let's have a quick look at the post ID. 1, 2. So in all posts, post ID is unique. At least we hope it is. So we will use that here, post ID, and then we get the item. We have to populate the view model, list view model items back to the view model for me, for us here. Yes, we'll need to update previews, I reckon, on this as well, but not yet. Sorry, we're in the wrong place. Let me in. Uh, Okay. Items are here. All right. So we've got a list with a view model, items, ID, item in, cannot convert, cannot convert value of all post response to exact expected argument type. Really? Items, data could not be inferred. Sure about that. So how about just change this initializer so I can work out what the compiler is saying here. So user ID is going to be, okay, that I think was just complaining because the signatures didn't match with what it's expecting. User ID is that. Post ID, we're using post ID, excellent. And then title, item on title, and post body is item on post body. Post body. No, really. Oh yes, it's body. Okay. Now on appearance, we can fetch all posts. Okay, I think on appearance is fine here, but it may get called a number of times. On appearance can get called on a bit more than we expect. So I'm going to change this to an asynchronous task. Oops, go away. So this task gets called before the view appears, I think. Adds an asynchronous task to perform before this view appears. Okay, so this will get called before the view appears and it will be destroyed with the view if we destroy the view, which we won't in this application. So we can put an asynchronous task in here, and fetch all posts is an asynchronous task. So let's say, okay, so let's say view model, fetch all posts, and we must wait that doesn't throw because we'll handle the errors in the view model. So that's our asynchronous task. The list style is plain. I might put this above the task because it's a bit clearer. Now, if I run this, do we expect this to make a request and to work? Let's give it a go. What are we at? 38 minutes. So long enough video. Build failed. Okay. Oh, all right. Mock API client. Now, where are we using the mock again? What are we using it for? It's the preview, isn't it? So let's put the mock API client here and let's have a look in list view down here. Mock API client, fetch content. Okay, all right. All right. Let's see. We've got a mock API client. Then we set up a preview view model with this API client. And then we use that to populate the list view. And therefore we can use preview. Okay, let me have a look at API client. What changes we've made. Fetch content. Oh, there is no. Well, I get you. Okay. Well, the first thing, this would be returning these guys. All of those. Let's just get rid of those for now. Does not conform. Fair enough. Let's give me that. Fetch all posts. And fine. Get rid of that. Now in here, let's return some data. So all posts response, one of these, and give me a user ID one, a post ID one, a title. Sorry, a title is one, and a body is body one. Body one. Fine. Okay. Give me another few of those. So I get some previewable content and fix our broken preview closure. So let's go user ID 2, post ID 2, 3, 4. So keeping it quite simple. 4, 3, remembering that this post ID needs to be unique. This is 2, 2, 3, 3. Let's just keep it consistent. 4 and 4. Okay. Is that gonna work for us? Back on the list view here, we want to break this out as well. Mock API client. Does it work? Build succeeds. Okay. Nice. That's very good. I've got Charles running here, so let's just have a look. Here is it. Overview contents. Oh, why is that not working for me? Do I have no certificates in here? But it wouldn't work if I didn't have the certificate. VPN, sorry, about and certificates. No, the Charles certificates here. Why am I not seeing any? Well, let's not worry about Charles. I'm not getting a the data is being yeah, it's encrypted. I can't actually see it in Charles. So let's just not worry about that right now. Anyway, we're getting back our content. User ID, post ID, the title, and the body, which is all good. Now, what do we want to keep doing here? What's our time? We're on 43. Just give me a moment. I'm just gonna switch on. Okay, so that's working and we're making a request. We could just clean up what we have and then we'll continue refining things in a separate video. So let's just clean up a few things. Here, I don't like keeping these strings in views. So first of all, I'm going to put the list view into its own group or folder. So new folder, let's just call it list view like that. And we can keep the model in there with that as well. Let's go back here. Okay, so I'm going to create a new file for the constants, just to keep everything separated. So constants, it's there, and it is going to be a struct. It's called constants. And boom, boom, it's gonna need an import. Let's work it out first. So constants, the list view, so all associated constants with list view, and let's say static let something equals user ID. So it's user ID label, user ID label. And then we just contain all these strings in one place. So we only need to look to one place to change them. So we've got user ID and we've got post ID as well. User ID label, this is going to be post ID label. We'll just change that to post ID. And then we will access these directly in our list view. Are they okay? I don't need foundation or import. No, I don't. Nice. Go to the list view. So now we'll take this out and we will say constants dot list view dot user ID label and can I just say plus like that? No, I can't. Oh, of type int. Okay. No, not like that. It's a little bit ugly, but it will do. What am I doing here? Go away. Put that on the outside. Lord. There we go. So that's that. Expected separator. Oh yes, we need to close off this. Okay, and then we're going to do the same with our post ID. So let's get rid of this. No, we'll leave that like that. Make that into a string. Constant post ID label. And then we just concatenate that post ID with the string. That gets rid of those. Okay. Do we want to have a quick look? We're approaching 50 minutes here. Build and compile just to be sure. Okay. I think we'll stop at that. We have updated our models and our API client to make a real URL request based on the API we ran through in the last video. We've displayed the content in our list view. Maybe in the next video, what we'll do is we'll clean this up. I think we'll extract this functionality here into a generic method that can be reused for other APIs. And we'll just keep only this specific responsibility for all posts API construction or request construction in here. And we'll just extract this to a separate method using generics so that we can reuse it with different models if we want. It's pretty straightforward. We'll maybe look at some very lightweight error handling. We could spend a long time at error handling, but very lightweight error handling, maybe using an alert to the user if something is to go wrong. In other words, if we get anything except a 200 status response. Maybe we'll look at improving our UI, maybe for a progress indicator if you're in a bad network area and the API takes some time, and maybe a content unavailable as well, or empty state using the content unavailable view. We can implement that for empty state responses as well. Okay, and anything else we find along the way. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye bye.